Hello, and welcome to a special pre-season edition of Fast Action Friday. The last Friday before the NFL regular season opens. I just had to get something out there. This time next week, the Lions will have played the Chiefs, and everyone will have had that taste of high octane, full speed, first string football that we've all been craving for over this preseason. I'm Rob, or at 5 Yard Rob on X. I just couldn't stay away from the mic. I had to get something out there. So here is a quick lowdown before next week starts and everyone and everything gets carried away. Let's start out with Newsflash. First up, we've got the news that two of the highly touted rookie quarterbacks have been given the go-ahead to start in week one. So that is number one pick Bryce Young will start for the Panthers against a Falcons team on the rise, and CJ Stroud will lead the Texans against an offensively rejuvenated Ravens side. A lot of fancy rookie drafts will have seen both quarterbacks picked up early, so those who have picked him will either be watching those two players eagerly or even putting them into some lineups to start the season. And also, with the news that Kyler Murray has been kept on the PUP list by the Cardinals, there's also potential for the rookie Clayton Tune to get the start against the Commanders on the opening weekend. Tune and recent trade import Josh Dobbs are the frontrunners to take the role, and head coach Jonathan Gannon hasn't announced who will be the quarterback one yet. Neither one will do much to tickle drafters at the moment, but if your drafts are done and you're in low at the position, it's likely that Tune went undrafted in your league and your rookie picks, and Dobbs could still be a waiver wire pickup. So have a check for that if you need someone at short notice. Someone else who's been kept on the PUP list this offseason is star running back Jonathan Taylor. The Colts have locked him down for at least the first 4 weeks, and they couldn't get any teams to agree to any of the ridiculous trade demands that they put in for Taylor as he enters his contract year. Looking behind him in the depth chart, we've got Deion Jackson, Evan Hull, and Zach Moss. Although Jackson has filled in for Taylor in previous absences, it could be any of those players to take the lead. Moss is still recovering from his broken arm, so he looks the least likely to start the season off. But if anyone's looking for a swing at fantasy lineups, if I had to, I would go for the veteran who knows the players around him at the moment, and that is Deion Jackson. Right, we will very quickly go on to injury report. We've also had some recent injuries affect some lineups. I think the biggest of them all is the news that came out today or the last few days. Cooper Kupp has had a setback in the recovery from his hamstring injury this week. Sean McVay has said that Kupp is day to day, but this is obviously a blow for the Rams and especially for Matt Stafford, who built up a really good rapport with Cooper Kupp in the last few seasons, particularly during that Super Bowl winning postseason run where Kupp scored 6 touchdowns on the way to getting the trophy. Anyone who picked up Kupp in the wide receiver spot in an early round draft pick is really hoping he's going back soon. They certainly hoped he'd be back and blowing up defenses in week one, but that might have to hold the brakes on there for a while. In other injury news, Jeff Wilson cannot catch break, and he's also been put on IR for the start of the season with his abdomen injury. Rookie Devon Achane as well. He's recovering from a shoulder injury. He was seen wearing non-contact pads this week on Wednesday. And that only leaves Raheem Mostert and undrafted rookie Chris Brooks as some of the only healthy backs in the team ready for week one. So those who really wanted to pick up Mostert in those late round draft picks will at least get some return in the first few weeks of this season. Another rookie who is struggling with on-off injuries this preseason, Kendre Miller, and he looks to have tweaked his hamstring like Kupp did as well before this opening weekend. With Alvin Kamara already suspended for the first 3 games, it could be 100% Jamal Williams' backfield to start with. Although I did notice that Tony Jones Jr. has rejoined the team on the practice squad. He was a waiver wire target at some point in the past. It's doubtful that he will have the same impact as he did previously at the Saints, which was not a lot. That's a quick run through of the most recent news. We're going to do Flex of the Week. We're going to do it a little bit differently. So this is a cheap plug incoming. I've been using my ranking projection and ranking system to produce a list of players as you would do in rankings. So we've got a list of players who are sat outside the Fantasy Pros consensus top 12 at QB and top 24 at other skill positions in PPR. And I've had a look through, see the differences between my rankings and their rankings to try and spot if there's anyone who I've got higher who I might consider for a flex of the week start at some point in this season. So starting off at quarterback, I'm loving the potential that Sam Howell has got this season with the Commanders. Eric Bieniemy is his new offensive coordinator. We know what he can do, what we've seen him do with the Chiefs and turning also runs into some great players alongside Patrick Mahomes. They've given Howell the job with confidence, and he's got the fundamentals that can help create an excellent passing offense. He's got some brilliant receivers in Dotson, Terry McLaurin, and Kurt Samuel, as well as a returning Logan Thomas, if he can stay fit, and a brilliant check-down receiver in Antonio Gibson. There's a lot of outlets for him to target this year. Fantasy Pros have him at QB 24. I've got him in my rankings at quarterback 19, so there's a bit more of a higher consensus from me there. Running back, it is the start of a new era in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers is out, and the summer of love is only just starting. While Love is gaining confidence in himself and his offense in these real snap situations, I fancy both men running backs to do very well here. However, I think the tide is turning, and I believe the organization is going to look more at AJ Dillon than Aaron Jones in this offense. That would follow the metrics that were coming out at the end of the last season. Dillon's entering a contract year, and he's the younger and the fresher of the two backs. Fancy Pros seem to think otherwise. They've got Jones at RB13 and Dillon at RB34. I've got that quite close, but the other way around. So I have Dillon at RB16 and Jones not far behind at RB20. So although big difference between where they've got Dillon, I've got the gap a lot closer together. Wide receiver, we're turning to look at the Denver Broncos. But I won't be going for Jerry Jeudy. I believe that Courtland Sutton will be named as a flex of the week for me at some point in this season. As I said on other shows, not just on the 5 Yard Network, the Peyton era is here. Russell Wilson, he needs a bounce back season to rebuild his reputation. And Jeudy might be injured at the start of this year, but Courtland Sutton has shown the ability in the past to make big numbers before Jeudy arrived. 72 catches for 1,112 yards and 6 touchdowns isn't as far out of reach as people might think. Fantasy Pros have him listed at wide receiver 38. I've actually got the Denver White Routes back to back at the moment with wide receiver 19 and wide receiver 20. And Sutton's extra predicted games put him up at wide receiver 19 for me. So that brings him well within the wide receiver 24. They could have 2 top 24 wide receivers by the end of this year if things pan out the way that I hope they do. Tight end, a bit on the lower end here because we know how much of a wasteland tight ends can be. But the Dallas Cowboys have already shown that they love to use a tight end in the passing game. Dalton Schultz was the man last season, and he ended up with the second most targets behind CeeDee Lamb. Jake Ferguson got a good sampling of that offense last year as well. So got 19 receptions on 22 targets. So he knows that he can fit in, and he knows what opportunity he has in front of him because Dak Prescott loves using a tight end. Speaking of Prescott, he has come out praising Ferguson and can see him as a big part of this offense. He can feature as a flex of the week. Fantasy Pros have got him as 33rd tight end ranked, but I have him as tight end 17. So I know we're talking about lower numbers here, but that could be the big difference between some of your matchups. Quite a short one. It was very fast action this week. I understand that this time next week we will have seen some football and the season will be underway. And I hope you are as excited about it as I am. But until then, keep rushing.